Okay, um, I've been wanting to make this video for a while. Um, my friends, family, coworkers, they always ask me how to write a macro. And so, well, I wanted to make this video to show you a very basic, generic macro that's super helpful. In fact, it's the most common one that I use. It's called a nested loop, and it's super useful. Let me show you how to code this up. Let's say your boss gives you a list in column A, and let's just say they're fruits, right? And he wants you to basically sum up all the different fruits in column A. So right here, there's 3 apples, and so it'll just go over here and say apple in sum 3. And then it'll kind of go down again and say there's 2 oranges and so on. It'll go down the entire list. And no matter how big this list is, it'll just have a second list over here that sums them all. Let me show you how to do that. First off, you got to make sure that your Excel file is in the correct format. It needs to be in xlsm. If it's not in that format, it won't be macro enabled. You won't be able to run any macro. To start this, you need the developer ribbon tab right here. If you don't have that, go to File, go to Options, Customize Ribbon, and right here. See this? You got to make sure that's checked. You do that, and it'll just show up. Over here, let's just record a macro, and I'm just going to call it fruit. I love fruit. Stop recording. Okay, so now we have this fruit macro. Let's go in and head and edit it. Now let me put this a little bit better format right here. Oh, shoot. Right here. Okay. So right here we have this fruit macro right here. And it's pretty easy how this works. This is just the command prompt window. You go to range and say C1 and hit something like select, something like that. And so I click somewhere and I say play. It just selects C1. You see that? Pretty basic. First thing I like to do is comment my code. I can write my name, date, an explanation of this macro. Say this macro sums a list of fruits in column A or something like that. Okay, so let me show you how to do a while loop. And a while loop is used just to go through an endless list. No matter how big it is, it'll just keep going until it finds a blank right there. Okay, so all I gotta do is write some variable I. I'll show you what that does here in a minute. Okay, so this code loops through list 1. I'm just going to call this list 1 here. Do until range a I w is equal to blank. That's it. Loop. And right here, I'm just going to say I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, and that's it. All that does, it goes through all of column A, just no matter the length. And to show you kind of what we just did, so you can actually see a value is equal to, oh, let's give this a name. Let's say, hold on, let's go back, say list one, right, is equal to a value. That's it. Okay, reads value in list one, just like that. Okay, all this is going to do is just move list one all the way to column C. That's all this code does right here. I hit play, there it is. It just kind of goes over there. I'll see, it incremented first. Okay, let's go range, C, value is equal to this, like that, there. So it'll actually line up, right? So if I hit this again, there we go. It just copied over to column C. You see that? Okay, so that's how you loop through an endless list. It could be no matter how big you really want. It could just be like mango or coconut or something like that, and it'll just mirror it. You see that? Okay, so there we go. There's our loop through the first list one. Okay, so this one, we'll add some more code here. This code loops through list two and sums. Okay, so just like how I made this first loop, I'm gonna make a second loop. I always put my variables up here at the top, just so I have them all in one place and not like buried in my code, and that kind of helps. I'm just gonna make it look like this, just so it's a little bit easier for me to read when I'm coding like this. Let's just see. Okay, it's right here. Now, how I start is I normally go through this like how I would do it manually. I first check to see the first variable, and since it's over here is blank, I would just copy and paste this first one right here. And then I would then check, okay, how many apples are in our first list? 1, 2, 3. There's 3 apples. And then I go over here, put 3 apples. That's how I would manually do it, and that's how I'm going to code it. I'm going to make sure that after every time this list this goes down through my code, we're going to start at the top of list 2. And that's what we're going to use for J1. And I'm also going to need another variable named root sum. And all that does is it's just going to be the variable that is going to be put in this D column right here. Okay. Okay, first we need to insert the value. Okay, first to insert the first value of list 1 into list 2. Okay, so here we go. What I'm going to do is say list 2 is equal to the C column. range C, C, J value. Okay. So that will just read and list the first value right here. Will read apple basically. And right here, we're going to basically, okay, if, I'm going to write an if statement. If list 1 is not a blank. And that's what this double arrow means. It means it's is not equal to. And list 2, which is, apple or something. Then, oh, yeah, it's picky. There we go. List 1 is equal to list 2. There we go. Then, yeah, and if. So all this does is say, okay, we have a value for list 1, apple, but we don't have a value for list 2. Then just insert it. Range C, J value is equal to list 1. So that just kind of puts apple into column C. Okay, and that's it. So it just put it into apple C, and it'll just read in list 2 again. Range C and J value. There. Okay. So if I were to play this, it should just apple. You see that? There we go. So it did it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So after that, what we're going to do is just start going through list 2. Let me show you this. Start looping through list 2. Okay. Just give up a little bit of space there. Okay. And there are 2 different ways I can see us wanting to add a sum right here. So we got apple or banana here or whatever. And now what we need to do is add a sum here, right? The only way it can sum is if it just newly added an item, or after it loops through here, it sees a duplicate, like an apple down here, and then it'll go to loop 2, and then it'll go to this apple and say, okay, there's another one, loop 3, like that. Those are the 2 different scenarios I can see. 2 different ways for the sum to be if there's a blank or a repeat. Okay, so now I'm going to go down list 2 to list 2 is equal to loop. Okay, all right. So now it's going to go through list 2. Okay. The first thing we should do is read the value. List 2 equal to range C and J. Yeah. So just cook the first value in list 2, and I might as well just comment this. This is for loop 2, J is for loop 2, I is for loop 1, or maybe the best way to put it is list 1, list 2. Okay. So it reads the first value. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to see if they are equal. If list 2 is equal to list 1, then okay, then do something. Okay, so this sees a duplicate root right here. Okay, cool. Okay. What we're going to do is have another fruit sum. Yeah, fruit sum is equal to range. Yeah, and J, because it's going to be in the J loop value. Okay. Fruit sum. What we're going to do is then add it. Fruit sum plus 1. And then put that added value into the D column. D, J. Okay. Now, one thing I want to stress on is always save everything before you run the code. Yeah. And at the end of the loop is J is equal to J plus 1. Okay. Okay. So I think that's it. And it just reads if there's a duplicate, it'll add 1. And that's it. It'll increment J, and then it'll come back up to read the value in list 2 again. I'll use a property. Okay. Oh, okay. I see that. Okay. Range A is equal to root. So, yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Let's run it. There it is. See, it did apple fruit. See that? Okay. Okay. Let me there we go. Okay. Now down here. Now we're going to see if there's a blank. Because all that did was just take the first apple instance. Now we need to say, okay, now if there's a blank, we're going to add another one. If list 1 is not equal to this, so list 1 has a value, right? It's not blank. And list 2 is equal to a blank. And okay. Okay, so this will check if there's a blank in list 1. Yeah. or not a blank in list 1 and a blank in list 2, then range C, it'll just add it. Okay, value list 1. Okay, J. And basically do the same thing. Yeah, it's basically doing the same thing as up here. Range D J equal to, yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, there we go. Save everything. Okay, and okay, run it. Oh, look at that. So I wonder what happened there. Okay, so let me show you how debugging works, because I just did a lot of it. Okay, so right here, if you click this button right here and go ahead and click play, it just goes to that value. Now what I can do is add a watch, and let's just say I want to watch expression J or something. Oh, 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 okay. Okay, this is not working. Here we go. Okay, here's this value. Okay, okay. So I already made a bunch of watches down here, but that's how to add a watch. All you do is click down here and just add an expression, and it'll just get put right here. What we're going to do is basically go through it step by step. I hold down the shift and F8, and you can do that by knowing debug right here, and shift F8 steps over. So what we're going to do is actually kind of go through it. See, it just took, here we go. Let's remove these out of here. Fruit sum, list 1, list 2. Fruit sum, list 1, list 2. Okay, there we go. Let's stop it so they're not there anymore. And I'm going to go over here and just delete this. And I'm just going to hit play. Okay, so it has Apple in our first list, and down, down. Okay, so there it is. It just threw in Apple. Now it's going to do the whole sum. Great. Apple. Okay, so now it's going to go to the next. Let's see, it's empty. The list 2 is empty. And okay. Oh, see down here, it's looking for Apple and it's empty, right? Now the list 1 is Apple and this is empty, so it'll go to the next one, and then it'll throw in a value. Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty neat. This is the whole debugging scenario here. But looking through this, it looks like it did what it was supposed to do until it reached right here. Let's see it. So red and empty, right? And then it checks if there's, okay, so yeah, and then it adds Apple again. It needs to break out of this list 2 thing, right? Because now it's going to go back up and then it'll do until list is empty and then it'll break it out. See that? Then it goes back up and then it collects the next value, which is banana in list 1. Okay, so basically I'm going to show you this, this thing right here. This is go to, and I'm going to put new I right there. Not a lot of people like to use go to very much. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm still trying to get the hang of that. But all I'm going to say is go to new I, and down here is new I right there. Okay. Okay. And let me save everything and hit play. Boom. There we go. Okay. Did do that right. Okay. There we go. Mango fruit. For some reason, it doesn't like mango and fruit, or mango and coconut. Okay. Let's try this again. That's kind of weird. Is everything done right? Yeah. Go to new. Okay. Mango coconut. Okay. So right here it doesn't even. So it seems to sum everything great. Oh wait. No. Okay. This is okay. Wonder why it's not summing that. Okay, here we go. Here's my fruit. Run. Okay. Mango coconut. Okay. It doesn't like my mango and coconut. Okay. Let's try one last thing here. Sum. Sum is equal 0. Yep. Okay. Trying to understand why it's not doing that. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to say if list 1 is equal to mango, mango, then, and if I'm going to put like test is equal to 1 right here. Why doesn't it sum it? That's my question here. Okay, so I'm going to put my test case right here. Test equals 1. And test. If test 1 is equal to, just hit that expected function or variable. What does it mean by that? I think my computer is bugging. Let me list 1 is equal to mango. Yeah. List 1 is equal to mango. Then mango. This is okay. Okay, let me I'm not sure this is doing this correctly. Let me save this. Save it. And I'm gonna back out of this. That's fruit. Okay. It did not like that. Why is this? What is it doing that? Huh. Okay. Variable. Okay. Okay. Comment it out. No, I didn't. If plus. Okay. So it worked then, but if I add this, it's if list1 equals mango. Just needs a parentheses. So I think that's it. Clear comments. Okay. There we go. Huh. It didn't like my test. That's funny. It must be some other function that I totally didn't know about. Okay. So found mango. Okay. Now it's going to go through. All right, it sees apple. It's not an apple. It's not a banana. It's not an orange. Not a grape. Not dragon fruit. Yeah. Okay. Here's the grape. Okay. Here's the empty. So then it'll say, oh, there's not. Okay, there's something in list one. That's empty. Okay. So now we're going to add mango, right? Fruit sum. Okay. It's value. Okay. Equals value. Okay. Fruit sum is, yeah. Okay. Okay. So basically what this just did is it didn't increment. Yeah. Fruit. This one. I'm missing a line. Missing a line. Okay. Yeah. Right here. See this? Fruit sum. Yeah. I didn't increment fruit sum. Once. Yeah. My gosh. Okay. Yep. Gotta love the debugging part of this whole thing. Okay. There we go. That should do it. There it is. There we go. Okay. That's the code to basically go through all list one and make a list two. Just like that. It can be of any length. Could have a red dragon fruit or something like that. Right? Red dragon fruit and just I don't know, code this up. There we go. There it is. See? Now, here are some things that I should show you. Now, let's say you get this list manually, and it's because someone manually enters it in, gives it to you. Well, let's say there's a white space there. Now, summon. You now have 2 grapes. You want to know why? Because of that white space. See that? So it doesn't see grape, it sees grape spacebar. And that's one thing that you need to look after, basically. And how you do that, you ready for this? That's the reason why I don't like to use lists or some item equals another item. Let me show you this trick right here. I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to show you in string. In string. List 1, list 2 equal to 0. And list 2 is not a blank. Then, okay, then. Okay, there you have it. So what this does is it basically does what this does, but it looks for list 2 in list 1. So basically it'll look for grape in grape spacebar and it'll sum it. So there's that's how it works with the in string. But let's say you have grape spacebar. Now run it. See, now it sums it still. You see that? That's how you get rid of like errors like that. You use in string. Trying to think of another way to kind of do this. Other thing that you could look for is, here's the thing, grapes. Like, let's say someone adds like a plural to it, and there you go. It does it. It looks for grape in grapes, but you just see the like that, so it sees it and then still sums it. That's another one. And there you have it. Another thing that you could look out for is let's say lowercase apple, or yeah, like lowercase and uppercase. Let's see if you just see how it some apple and not, you know, uppercase and lowercase. So basically what you got to do in that case is at lowercase function everything. Let me show you this. Everything it reads, it'll have to read a lowercase l case. So all this does is it will lowercase literally everything in the string. L case value. And okay. It's kind of a pain, but it's all this is very tedious. You gotta lowercase literally everything, and it'll just do it. It'll sum everything. Oh, I don't need this anymore. Okay. Lowercase and string. Yep. Okay. So I just lowercased everything, and let's see if that actually worked. Debug L case. Oh, it didn't like that. Okay, so it doesn't like it when I just use lowercase, range dot value, all that stuff. What I'm going to do is basically L case list 1. Okay, and list 1 is we'll do a lowercase, something like that. Okay. Oh gosh, oh, I gotta do it down here. List. Two. Okay. See if that'll work this time. There we go. So it's just lowercase everything, and now it'll sum it up no matter what uppercase or lowercase it is. Yeah. So when writing macros, as I was just meaning to say, is that you basically have to um, remember where you're getting this information from. They could have fat finger stuff. They could insert a bunch of white spaces, just stuff like that. And basically you have to compensate for writing the code right here. And that's it. Anyway, this works on anything. Here's another sheet with a bunch of part numbers I just have. And I just sum it up and see, it'll just pull it all no matter what. It's so handy. So there you have it. That's how to make an integrated loop macro that sums a list of items, no matter what it is, fruits, part numbers, sales codes, anything. And it also neglects, white spaces and lowercase and uppercase. And that's it. But that's basically how you write um, a basic integrated loop macro. Thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. Let me know if you know anything in the or have any questions in the comments. Um, like, and that's it. Thank you so much. Bye.